when it comes to figuring out shit on your Firebird, the internet is not always right. If you've been paying attention, then you know that last week, my buddy Jonathan from Vinyl Village Garage flew out to Arizona, walked to Arizona, depends on the video you watch, but he came out to Arizona and we replaced the roof on the 67 Firebird here in my garage. Two guys, basic tools, nothing special, and we repaired that Swiss cheese of a roof. But while we're here, Jonathan started like looking and he's like, you said that this car was a straight 6 car. And he goes, but the VIN number doesn't quite match up. And I said, oh, wait, hey, hold on. The internet said that if I had this and I had that, it was a 6-cylinder car. And then again, I have no real history. And what little bit of history I do have on this car is kind of, jaded in a sense. We're not quite sure. So Jonathan started poking and prodding and figuring stuff out. And then he's like, you might have something here. You might have something. The only way to find out is to go ahead and order the PHS. That's the Pontiac Historical Society information on the car. It's about $100. It's all done via the internet. It's a kind of a weird thing to get going, but once you do it, they're going to send you an email with about probably 15, 20 pages worth of documents. Only the first, I'd say 5 or 6 is what you want. But those 5 or 6 pages are about to blow your mind. So when I first picked up this 67 Firebird, I was going off of this. That is the body tag for the car. And I tried decoding it, and while it doesn't tell you everything, it gives you kind of a clue as to what it's about. Now I'll post a link down below where if you want to decode your body tag, you can do so. But the problem kind of started there back in 2019 when people told me, oh, that says it's a 6-cylinder car. Well, it's not. So one of the things that we noticed was when I picked this car up, it has a small pedal. Well, a small pedal tells you there's going to be a third pedal that's going to be the clutch pedal. But the PHS certificate says that no, this was an automatic when it came from the factory. So why the hell did we put a small pedal on there? The deck lid has the holes for the 400 sign. But then again, was this replaced at some other time? Did they swap out, deck lids for the back trunk or not? We were so confused. I know you can't see it, but back down in there is a second line to the fuel tank. So it had the fuel line that comes in, then it had a line that returned the fuel to the back of the tank. The internet told me, oh, that's only a 6-cylinder car, not a V8. Wrong. And if you remember, when we were pulling off all the part of the vinyl top on this car, it was black. But yet the PHS says it was white. So again, what's going on here? Damn it, John, I like this stuff. This here is the original factory color of the 1967 Firebird. And by all means, from what we understand, this is called a copper blaze color, and it was a custom color in 1967. The next clue everyone said is if you only have one of the traction bars, as you can tell, this side here doesn't have it. If you only have one traction bar, they said, that means it's also a 6-cylinder car. And of course, I just have a mono-leaf suspension, not a multi-leaf. Again, I was told that's the sign for a 6-cylinder car. So while we did this, we noticed that the headliner on the Firebird was this red. Look at that, that's a different red. So the interior was changed at some time, but that's the headliner. So that was what the interior was originally, was this crazy ass red color. So while we're doing the top, Jonathan's like, why did your brother paint the entire inside of this car red? I mean, this should have been a black or a different color. Well, again, we're learning stuff by this PHS information. Jonathan pointed out, hey, you got a hole right here, and that's a factory cut hole with that little notch. That means this here was a rear antenna car, which apparently was pretty rare back in the day. So Jonathan and I dig deeper, and we went to look at this fender here. This is the fender that when I first pulled it off had a little sticker behind it, if you remember, that said GM factory replacement or something along those lines. And while talking to my brother's wife, she said there was a fender bender that happened to this car. That would explain the factory fender. So this was the bumper that I picked up there. And as you can see, there's no arrowhead on this front bumper. And everyone said, oh, only the 400 cars had a front bumper with the emblem. That is an inline 6 car. The bumper says so. So then Jonathan and I started looking at this hood. It has both the openings for a 400 hood, and then we started to look at numbers and things and try to put things together. It's a 400 hood. So if this was a 6-cylinder car that my brother took the time to change out the hood, the rear deck lid, and everything else, that's a lot of work to do to a 6-cylinder to make it into a 400 car. After all of this, I just had to. I had to plop down the $100 to buy the report from PHS, which is Pontiac Historical Society, to get this right here from them. And this tells the tale of this car when it was new. Let's dive into what this says, and it's going to open up some doors that I was even shocked about. I will link down below the link to where you can order, if you don't have it already, the PHS report, which is like the factory birth certificate for your Pontiac, down below. And again, I don't make any money off this. It's just, it is what it is. But this report, when they sent it back to me, it was about $100, $95. It took 2 or 3 days to get. They'll email it to you. It's kind of a flip-flop thing. It's not an online order thing. You fill it out online, but then you have to print it out and then like fax it or email it back to them with your credit card information. So it's a little hokey, but I get it. As a Porsche guy who is the editor of the Porsche 912 registry, I get it. I understand how things work, and it is what it is. But once you get this back, this is the cool part. They told me, Mr. Minson, your car is a special order paint number 1, which they have no clue what color it is. But we know it's this color right here, which tends to be what they call a copper blaze. So, okay, so you get your report. Your first page is all about the exterior color. Well, none of these colors match this special color. So we go on. Flip the page, and they start to break stuff down for you. Oh, look at that. The convertible top was a cream color, not black, like when I picked up the car. So my brother switched it out. If you look here, it's red. It originally had a red interior. So the seats were all red, and it was a dark red. That meant all of this was red. This explains why he or whoever painted everything this different red, which was just to change the color. This, I'm telling you guys, for $100, buy this if you don't have it already. Next page. Check this out. So the whole time we thought it was an inline 6. But according to the numbers, we have ourselves a 400 car. Holy smokes. Come over here, we find the rear axle. And this information. It's a 400 car. It's a freaking 400 car. There was a 400 in here at one time. A 400. Not an inline 6. Internet lies, 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 lies. So the next page comes, it's your build sheet. It tells you, and they go through and they mark and highlight. Look, right there. What does it say? Firebird 400. And every option that your car had based upon its VIN number, they list out for you. So it was a 400 car that had the turbo-matic transmission. It had the rear antenna. Interesting, very interesting. Then they send you this. This is like your build sheet. Everything that's coded. And if you go through this code and you work it through this one, you start to see what your car is and what it's not. And then they start to break down numbers for you. And this is where I got excited. So, in 1967, they made 82,560 Firebirds. Out of those, 18,633 were 400s. Then you start to break down even more, and you add the special fact that this is that color, which is a special color, and the fact the inside was a rare red, and it was a hard top. Uh-oh. Are we looking at a rare 1967 Firebird? So to wrap up, I took a 67 Firebird that I thought was just a plain Jane inline 6 car base model, and saw that my brother had put a Chevy 350 motor in it and possibly traded out the trunk lid and the hood and other things to make it look like a 400, that indeed it was originally a 400 car. Why that engine is not in the car now, no clue. Maybe it got blown up or something happened, and my brother did some horse trading and got a Chevy 350 small block and put in there. But either way, I now know that my car was originally a 400 car, which makes it so much better. And the fact that now I'm going to take the time to get the correct bumper, the correct headlight grills for everything, to put this car back to a 400, which means I now want a 400 motor. So if you know where there's a 400 Pontiac laying out there somewhere and it's for sale, will you drop me a comment down below and tell me where I could find that? I would really appreciate that. Well, guys, this wraps up this week's video on Firebird Friday. Just to let you know, the internet does lie. And this Mountain Dew stuff is pretty good, and I appreciate my buddy John for taking a moment, looking around this car and saying, you might want to spend $100 and get something that tells you exactly what this car is. And that's that PHS report. And I'll have a link down below on how you can get a copy for yourself. Well, guys, I will see you next Friday for another Firebird Friday. Thank you, guys.